Hello, I'm Nathan, and this is my channel about writing. I wanted to start a channel about writing because I'm in the process of writing my first novel. I'd like to chart that journey here, and I'd also like to share the things that I am finding out as I go along. This is my first novel, or it's the first novel that I've written a first draft of that I'm comfortable with. I've actually wanted to be a writer for a long time. When I was in secondary school, I wanted to be a playwright. In my final year of secondary school, I studied Ibsen's A Dollhouse and Bertolt Brecht's Caucasian Chalk Circle. That year at the theatre, I saw A Midsummer Night's Dream, Hamlet, Waiting for Godot, and Sweeney Todd. So I was very excited about the theatre. I went to university wanting to be a playwright. My two majors were English literature and drama. It didn't take me long to realize that drama wasn't for me, mainly because it was full of drama students who had big personalities. And if you haven't already noticed, I'm quite a delicate flower. I kept English literature and I changed my majors from drama to classical studies. But even in classical studies, I was focused on literature, mainly Greek and Roman drama. It won't be too much of a surprise that I got into film. From between 2002 until 2008, 2009, I wrote and was involved in 7 or 8 short film projects, mainly my own, that I wrote or co-wrote, produced, even directed badly. In 2010, I went back to university. Our university offered a master's in creative writing, either for on the page, which looked at novels, short stories, memoirs, that kind of thing, and for the stage, which looked at film, television, and drama. So I did a master's in creative writing for on the stage. During that course, we had to have a go at film, television, and theatre. My main project, the equivalent of a thesis, was a feature-length film, and I did an adaptation of an H.G. Wells novel, The Food of the Gods. I really love that novel. The reasons that I love it are more for things like narrative style and narrative humor, and those things didn't transfer naturally. Not as well as if I'd chosen something that translated to film a little more easily. I also wrote an outline for a pilot and a 6-episode television series and 10-minute stage play, which was performed in front of an audience. A really exciting thing about the MA course was that we got to meet Christopher Vogler. He's the one that took Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces and the idea of the monomyth, and he made it really easily accessible to writers with his book, The Writer's Journey. He came to Wellington to present his seminar on the writer's journey. I remember going and talking to him after his seminar because I disagreed with something that he had said about the Odyssey during his seminar. That is actually my claim to fame. I once had a disagreement with Christopher Vogler about the Odyssey. The other really exciting thing about the MA course is that we got to meet Neil Cross. Now, if that name isn't immediately familiar to you, he's the creator of the BBC show Luther. And if you haven't seen Luther, I suggest that you go and find out about that as soon as possible. Luther is a psychological crime drama about a British detective, and it really is very well plotted and very well written with lots of twists and turns. We were very lucky to have a masterclass from Neil Cross. He was knowledgeable and enthusiastic about what he was doing, and he was a really nice guy. It was in relation to Neil Cross that I made what I consider to be the biggest mistake of my writing life. The facilitator of our course, our New Zealand writer David Geary, also very knowledgeable, clever, and a very nice guy, he invited Neil Cross to come drinking with us at the end of the first semester to celebrate handing in the first draft of our sort of feature-length project. So, to his credit, and to all of our delight, Neil Cross came along and came drinking with us. So there was Neil Cross, famous BBC writer, and our facilitator David Geary, also great New Zealand writer, and 10 MA students drinking and chatting about writing. Through the course of the evening, Neil Cross was asking us what we were writing and what we were excited about. And I ended up telling him about an idea for a zombie movie that I'd had. The action of the story happened in and around a women's prison in Wellington, New Zealand. It was sort of low budget and a bit schlocky. He said to me, "Oh, a friend of mine is looking for a zombie script at the moment. If you can finish it in 6 weeks, I'll pass it along to him." And what do you think I said to this amazing, once-in-a-lifetime perhaps opportunity? No, I'm a bit too busy with the writing in the course at the moment. In my defense, I was very busy in the course at that time. We'd just handed in the first draft of our feature-length project, and I'd had quite a difficult week getting that finished. I knew that Neil Cross was an influential guy. I knew that he worked for the BBC. He'd been the head writer for Spooks, which is a BBC spy espionage drama set around MI5. It was 2010. I'd seen the pilot of Luther, but I hadn't discovered yet how much I would absolutely love the first season of Luther, and what a icon, hero Neil Cross would become for me over the next few months. And the other thing, I didn't know then what I know now about how much work you can actually accomplish, how much writing you can accomplish in 6 weeks. At that stage, writing a feature-length project was a difficult task, and the idea of writing it in 6 weeks was nearly impossible. Certainly what I should have done is gone to David, the facilitator of our course, and said, "Look, I've got this opportunity. Can I change my main project? Can I get this written in 6 weeks? And this zombie project will be my project going forward." Of course, I'd just handed in the first draft of our main project, and that was the one on the food of the gods, which I ended up working on for the rest of the year. I think David would have been encouraging of me to do that. A big aspect of the course was experience in the respective industries, film and television and theatre. Part of the course was practicing pitching ideas, developing projects as a group. Each of us had internships in the related fields of film, television, and theatre. So I believe if I went to him with this change in direction because of a new opportunity, I think he was going to be encouraging. In any case, I should have dropped everything else that I was doing and tried to write a zombie script in 6 weeks. We were in a pub and we were drinking. Maybe he would never have passed it along, but that's not what's important. What's important is that there was an opportunity, or something that could have been an opportunity, that I didn't follow up with. I could have said, "Yeah, great, give me your email address, I'll mail you tomorrow and just make sure everything's okay, and I'll get something to you in 6 weeks." It was less about what the opportunity was and more about the fact that there was an opportunity and I didn't do anything about it, which was, really, really sad. Very sad. Just to round out this brief overview of my writing life, the year after I completed that MA course, I moved to Japan. So for the next few years, I was still writing a lot, drama-based stuff, mostly short films. Just before I left New Zealand, I had some success with a radio play being bought by the national broadcaster of New Zealand, which is Radio New Zealand. So that was great. I had a 15-minute radio show bought and produced and played on the radio, which was a great boost for me. After a year or so of being in Japan and writing these short films and radio scripts, I realized that there was no one around me that I could make that drama with. It was almost impossible with the Japanese ability that I had and still have to make that drama with a crew. I decided that I really should have a go at writing fiction. I hadn't done any fiction seriously since high school. So what I did is take the short film idea that I was most proud of from the short films that I'd written, and I rewrote it as a short story. So if you're familiar with short stories and short films, you'll know that only the main idea of the story sort of kept in place. It was two girls going on a road trip in the Japanese countryside, but almost no material from the film script could be used in the short story. So I wrote that, and I was very happy to have that accepted for publication in a literary magazine in New Zealand. So that was my first published work. From that point on, I continued writing short fiction. I haven't had anything else accepted for publication, and I started trying to write my first novel. If I was ever going to make a living writing creatively, I think I'd have to write a novel. This channel is about documenting my writing journey and also trying to get this first draft into a position where I'm comfortable showing it to other people and eventually submitting it to somebody. So thank you for watching.